Yeah. Hi guys. My name is Gael. I am a computer engineer, and I studied computer science a couple of years ago. So this is not working. No. So information technology and computer science, it's just like the medicine. So you see how you can be a physician, but there is a dentist that take care of your teeth. You can be a psychiatrist if you take care of people with mental illness. You can be another type of physician if you deliver baby. So computer science is the exact same thing, and you can have different title. So if you decide to do a bachelor degree in computer science or information technology, I'm going to show you the different type of job that you can do. The first one is a very common one, is a software engineer or software developers. So basically a software developer is someone that create app. When you play Roblox or when you go on Facebook.com or when you play Minecraft, all these games that you install on your computer or that if you have a smartphone and when you go to the App Store or to Google Play Store, if it's an Android, you download the app or software on your device. Let's say it's your laptop or your smartphone. Somebody called a software developer designed, build, and created this software. So this person sits in a dark room on their computer every day and night. They write the code that build this software. The dark room is a joke, but software developers, they like to be alone. They are usually introvert and they don't like to be bothered by anyone else. So they can spend the entire night coding, which means writing code that create this specific software. So if you have Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, or Gmail, or any game that you install on your smartphone, it was created by a software developer. This is a very good career because they need a lot of software developers that can build and create new stuff like AI, for example, if you've heard of artificial intelligence. Then next is network engineer. A network engineer is the guy or the woman that is responsible to make sure the infrastructure of the company or the school or the organization works properly in terms of interconnectivity. So basically, when you see the Wi-Fi is working or when you plug your network cable to the wall and you see you have internet access, when you're at home and you see there is a Wi-Fi, the network engineer is the one that is making sure that everything in terms of connectivity works well. So let's say your teacher is logging into the computer and they need to access some specific resources on the network. They need to be able to print. So all these are interconnected via something we call switch. So you can see there is a closet, a network closet where they install the switches, something called router that help you get access to the internet. So whenever there is an issue, the network engineer is this person that will make sure that all the cable are interconnected and the infrastructure of the network is working properly. So these people, they are usually very good with making sure that they understand how the information is being transferred or is transiting into the network. That's why they call it network because let's say there is an office, let's say there's a bank. The bank can have multiple branches. So these branches, these different offices, they need to communicate between each other. They need to be interconnected. So a network engineer is going to install different type of network device to make sure even if it's North Omaha or down West Omaha, these two offices they are able to be they are connected and they can transfer data or information between each other. So the network guy is responsible to make sure that these two offices are able to talk and transfer information. That's why if you go to the specific branch in a bank, and you see your account is $10,000, and you go to another branch, you'll see this exact same information because it's all centralized. So the next job you can have is a database engineer. Speaking of centralized, the database engineer is this guy or woman that is responsible to manage this data repository. So a database is like a bucket where you put all your toys, for example. So you can have multiple type of toy. You can have a Lego toy, you can have a puppy, you can have anything. So this bucket represents the database. That's where all the data are being hosted. So when you post a picture on Facebook, this picture goes onto the application Facebook, but it's actually stored into a database. That's why wherever you are, let's say you leave the US and you go all the way to Africa, and you take someone else's computer on someone else's Wi-Fi and you log in with your same username and password, you'll see the exact same data that you posted. It's because this picture or video that you posted is saved and stored into a centralized database where all your information are being stored. So we need someone, a database engineer, to manage this data, because there is now big data, because we produce so many content. There is so many YouTube videos, so many data on the internet, that these data are being a lot. So now we talk about terabyte, there is terabyte, there is gigabyte, but in terms of quantity of data, someone needs to manage all this data to make sure they are properly indexed, they are stored properly, and they are secured, because some data are so sensitive, we call them PII, personal identifiable information, or PHI, protected health information. If you are sick, this data is being stored in the database at the hospital. You don't want your classmate to know that you have this type of sickness, because this is private information. So someone needs to make sure that these data are properly protected. And in terms of access control, who can have access to this data is someone that is legitimate, or that has the authorization to access this data. So the database engineer job is to make sure all these data are properly stored in a bucket, and making sure that only the person that's supposed to have access to this data have access to it. A system engineer is someone that takes care of your operating system. What is an operating system? Nobody? Like a phone or computer. A phone or computer is actually the hardware, like the physical component that you can see. The hardware, it's the device. The laptop, the phone is the hardware, the thing that you can touch. The operating system is the thing that you cannot touch. It's called operating system because it's managing the operation inside of the hardware called the phone or the laptop. Can anyone guess an example of operating system? Android is an example of mobile operating system. iOS is an example of mobile operating system created by Apple. Android is an example of mobile operating system created by Google. Mac OS is an example of operating system created by Apple. Windows that we all use is an example of operating system created by Microsoft. And there is a third one called Linux, this penguin. It's an example of open source operating system. Open source because it's free to use. You can go home, download it tonight, and start playing with it. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's an example of operating system. So the operating system is this tool, this application that helps your computer run. Every time you install an application, every time you do something, it goes on top of the operating system. The operating system is like the playground. It's the floor where everything needs to run on. Everything got installed. The database, the application, all the software, what the software engineer does and the database engineer does, they come and install them on the operating system. So someone also needs to manage this operating system. It's what we call a system engineer. So you're going to study how to manage the operating system. Now, this is what I do for a living. I am a cybersecurity engineer, and I make sure everything that the system engineer, the database engineer, and the software engineer does, it's properly done in terms of security. So I make sure that there is enough security control to prevent the school being hacked, the system being hacked. So every day, what I do is to make sure that there is enough control in place to mitigate the risk of the organization or the company being hacked by a hacker or a cyber attack. And to do that, you need to understand. That's why it's a very special career. To be a cybersecurity engineer, you really need to understand everything that is related to IT, because you need to be able to speak to a software developer, you need to be able to speak to the system engineer, speak to the network engineer, because your job is to make sure that whatever they do, they don't do something that can compromise the sensitive data of the organization. So all we do is to make sure we don't have any data breach and everything is secure, whatever Wi-Fi network or software is being installed on the organization infrastructure. And last but not least, this is where most of you or most of us, we start our career. Let's say you study for a 4-year bachelor degree, and then your first job after your internship is probably going to be a desktop support engineer. Who can guess what a desktop support engineer do?
They have a problem with like either your network's not working or the app you're trying to use isn't loading.
Mhm.
And there's usually like a support or feedback, and if you like call
Call.
them or text them,
Correct.
then they can try and help with it. Just somebody can kind of troubleshoot your problems too, and they'll take the information and then just
They will listen to what you're saying. This person is, yes, they need to have very high technical skills to solve the actual issue, but most of this job requires a lot of soft skills. You need to be able to speak with someone. You need to be able to decipher whatever the end user or the person is telling you, because sometimes they don't have the correct word to explain whatever situation they are dealing with. You need to be able to have a lot of empathy to relate to this person, because when they call you, usually they are afraid or they are scared. Oh, I cannot log into my system. I have a meeting in 5 minutes, or I think my system was hacked. So the desktop support engineer is what we call it in usually the L1. It's the level 1. This is the first person that you need to contact, whether it's a network issue, whatever it's a software, whatever the issue is. This is the first person you're going to call to, hey, have an issue. Can you help me? Now, if this level 1, which is the desktop support engineer, is not able to fix the issue, he's going to escalate the issue to the network engineer or the system engineer to see if they can fix. But the desktop support engineer is usually this person that when you are at the school, or if you have an issue with your phone, this is the first person you're going to call. Hey, my laptop is being wacky. I cannot connect to the Wi-Fi. This is the go-to person that you're going to meet to make sure that they try to fix or solve your issue. That's why most people in the IT or the computer science field, they start their career here, because it doesn't require a lot of experience. You don't need to have like 5, 10 years of experience to be a desktop support engineer. The most important skill to be a desktop support engineer is to know how to communicate and be able to understand whatever the end user or the employee is telling you. So when today, there is two type of route you can go to be a computer engineer or to become a cybersecurity professional like me. The first route is to go and do a 4-year bachelor degree. The second route is to go the certification route. This, what I'm saying right now, is not applicable to any other field like lawyer, medicine, etc. Please be mindful and make sure that you understand what I'm saying. What I'm about to say is only applicable in the IT field or the computer science field. It's just because of the way our field is. For example, what I'm saying is not applicable if you want to be a nurse, for example. There is two routes to be successful in IT. The first route is to do what we call go do an associate degree for 2 years, and then you can go do a bachelor degree for 4 years, then get an internship and start your career. The second route is you can say, I'm not going to university at all. I'm going to take the certification route. So you can go to a school that will teach you for maybe 6 months or a year a specific set of skill, and they're gonna train you only on that skill. And then from that, you can take a certification. Certification are very popular in the IT field. That's what we call hands-on skills. So the certification is something like you can study at home or take what we call a boot camp, which is usually 3 to 6 weeks. You take a boot camp and then you study by yourself and then you go and take the certification. There is a lot of certification for every single specialization that you would like to do in computer science. For example, you want to be a network engineer. So instead of going to school for 4 years, you and do a bachelor degree, you can say, oh, I want to be a network engineer. Let me take this certification called CCNA, which stands for Cisco Certified Network Associate. This is a very respectable certification that basically say the employer, this guy or this woman, he knows these things about networking. He can be a network engineer, but it's a very hard exam. You need to pass it. So here are the two routes you can take to be a computer engineer or different type of specialty inside of the information technology. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, let me know.